Namandab, 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 namandab. Kansho. Namandab, namandab,
namandabits, 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 namandabits.
namandabits, namandabits.
Good morning. Today is July 10th, and we welcome you to New York Buddhist Church's Sunday service streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. We will begin with quiet sitting. Please sit up straight, feet flat on the floor, calm your mind, and follow your breath. We will begin with JÖ-SEI-GE on page 93, followed by Vandana and Tisarana, 3 Jewels on page 167. Then a meditative reading by Isabelle, Shinjo, Bernard. Reverend Gary Shobo Jaskula will then share today's Dharma message. We will close service by singing Gatha's Namu, Amida, Butsu on page 174 and Nembutsu on page 169. Namu, Amida, Butsu.
Everyone please rise for the Vandana and Tisarana.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Amen. Shem, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namu kie Butsu. Namu kie Butsu. Namu kie ho. Namu kie ho. Namu kie so. Namu kie so. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu.
Everyone please be seated. Today's meditative reading will be from the book Living in Amida's Universal Vow. This is a collection of essays on Jodo Shinshu compiled by Alfred Bloom, Reverend Al Bloom. And the selection I've made is called The Practice of Jodo Shinshu, an excerpt from this passage, which was written by Reverend Taitetsu Uno. The primary goal of Shin Buddhism is life lived in mature engagement with the Buddha Dharma. The ultimate goal of deep hearing is not satori, or enlightenment, but true entrusting. In the words of Shinan, for the foolish and ignorant who are ever sinking in birth and death, the multitudes turning in transmigration, it is not attainment of the unexcelled, incomparable fruit of enlightenment that is difficult. The genuine difficulty is realizing true and real Shinjin. The genuine difficulty comes from our deep-rooted self-clinging that will not open up to true and real Shinjin, that is the unconditional gift of boundless compassion. Shinran describes true and real Shinjin variously, as diamond-like because it is not dependent on the ego self and hence is indestructible, as the settled state because it is not subject to our emotional upheavals, and as non-retrogression because there is no backsliding into confusion or darkness. Toward the end of his life, Shinran called Shinjin a state equal to the Tathagata or Buddha. That is, it is not identical with Buddhahood, but equals it, since supreme enlightenment will be attained necessarily as its natural consequence. Shinran frequently uses the expression returning to the ocean of primal vow for Shinjin. He likens it to the great ocean that does not discriminate between good and bad, young and old, men and women, noble and humble. Nor does it differentiate between practitioner and non-practitioner, sudden and gradual attainment, right and wrong contemplation, one's calling and many calling. The working of Shinjin is ultimately inconceivable, inexplicable, and indescribable. It is like the medicine that eradicates all poisons. The medicine of the Tathagata's vow destroys the poison of our wisdom and foolishness. When we think that we have attained some wisdom, it is nothing but arrogance, and as such it poisons us and those around us. Only the medicine of Nembutsu can eradicate such a toxic condition. But just as an ordinary person does not know the base chemicals in a prescription medicine, yet derives good from it, so likewise the practitioner of the Shin path cannot fathom the depth of Nembutsu life, yet receives inconceivable benefits from it. Namu-da Butsu, Namu-da Butsu, Namu-da Butsu, Namu-da Butsu. So it is my pleasure today to welcome back Reverend Gary Shobo Jaskula, who will deliver today's Dharma message.
So good morning. So actually that was a very good Dharma talk right there that was just read, so we don't need any further. But in any event, I would like to talk today a little bit about some of the same stuff, actually. If you think about people's vision of the next life, what that is, it tells you something about the different aspirations of different traditions, right? So for some people, the life after death is like going up on a cloud and playing harps, and it's sort of dull, but so all the interesting people go to the other place. And then there's some people or some traditions that talk about like a land of milk and honey and great abundance and sort of sensual things, that no hunger, the animals who are dangerous to each other live in peace as well as humans. So there's sort of like a nice physical afterlife. And there are more. There are some traditions where, the afterlife is sort of dreadful. It's like being a shade, and you hear some of the antique teachers talking about, or poets talking about when they encounter people from the dead, them saying, "I would rather be the oldest, most decrepit person, but still alive, rather than be here," even though this is a very famous hero like Achilles or something like that. So it kind of gives you an insight into how people think. And what do we think, Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, or Pure Land Buddhists in general? You know, we don't go to sit on a cloud. We don't have a feast, you know, and good sausages and nice food in the next life. We Buddhists go to class. You know, that's the goal. Is that here on Earth, you know, we're too distracted, you know, so, you know, we live imperfect lives. We have all these bono, you know, each one of these beads is one bono, and they all have to be extinguished perfectly in order to achieve enlightenment. So in the Pure Land, this is the 5-cent version. In the Pure Land, you will have no distractions. Amida himself is going to teach you, and you'll be in the class, and you will achieve enlightenment or near enlightenment, and there'll be no obstruction, and that's sort of the idea, right? And it sort of tells us kind of what we are. You know, as a group, we are always in class. We're taking classes. We're learning stuff, and we look forward to an eternity but that isn't really the understanding of Jodo Shinshu Buddha. That isn't Shinran's understanding. That's kind of like regular Pure Land Buddhism, but Shinran teaches that, you know, and his successors, all of the teachers that have taught us, teach that in the Pure Land, if we went there, if we could telepathically go up or find a machine that would take us to the Pure Land immediately, wherever it is, there would be no one there. There would be no one there. It would be empty. Empty. Why? Because the idea of going to the Pure Land is to become enlightened and then not have a vacation, but come back to assist sentient beings, troubled beings. So that's why we always like to think that in Obon time or that the ancestors are not far away. They're not here, but they're really not far away because they've come back and they're helping us and guiding us on another plane of existence, as are all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And so it's not a sort of heaven. It's actually a state. And it's not here, but it's not far from here either. And so with that in mind, I would just like to, for this midsummer's Dharma talk, just go over some of the basics of Jodo Shinshu from Shinran's words, and then we can talk about it a little bit if we want. So Shinran says, seeing the sentient beings of the Nembutsu throughout the worlds, countless as particles in 10 quarters, the Buddha grasps and never abandons them, and therefore is called Amida, unmeasured. So grasps and never abandons. That's one. So we feel we're alone, we're doing stuff, we're trying hard, we fail. The Buddha, what we're taught is that the Buddha knows this and has grasped us. And once grasped, never abandoned. And then Shinran says in another passage, my eyes being blinded and hindered by blind passions, I cannot perceive the light that grasps me, and yet the great compassion, without tiring, illuminates me always. So that's more of the same, right? That's from the other side. And then here's the key part, which is what Reverend Isabelle's reading was about, only with the diamond-like Shinjin, or true and trusting, can we, living in this evil world of 5 defilements, completely abandon birth and death forever and reach the pure land of naturalness. So the key point is that this work, this Shinjin that they're talking about, is something that actually comes to us. It's not something that we have to work at too hard to achieve. What we have to work at in our lives is to kind of contemplate on it and try to move ourselves out of the way. But really, even that is not necessary, because it is Amida's work. And through that, because it is Amida's work, each one of these 108 bono are transformed into their opposite. Okay, and then, so Shinran says, therefore entrust yourself to Amida's primal vow through the benefit of being grasped. So we just said at the beginning, you're grasped, you're never abandoned, you sort of feel that. Shinran is saying, okay, rely on that. Rely on that. Entrust yourselves to the primal vow, and you will unfailingly get the result, which is to become enlightened. But not, it's not through our own effort. And then here's the part there where the Pure Land is empty. Shinran says in another passage, Amida has fulfilled the directing of virtue, which has 2 aspects, that for going forth and that for our return. So in one sense, that's Amida's coming forth to us and for our return, but it's also our return from the Pure Land back to sentient beings. Through these 2 aspects of Buddha's directing of virtue, we are brought to realize both mind and practice. Because on our own, even if we wanted to, we would never achieve that perfect equanimity, that perfect mind, or do any of the practices that Buddhism recommends. But through Amida's directing of virtue, those things are achieved. Bono is extinguished or transformed into the opposite, and then we can live in the world. We can live in the world. And Shinran then, here's a last one. Those who deeply entrust themselves to Amida's vow of great compassion should then all say Namu Amida Butsu constantly, whether they are waking or sleeping. So it's after understanding that. That's when you say Namu Amida Butsu with gratitude. That's what we call gratitude. But it sounds like gratitude is something we have to do. And that would be missing the boat. Or you could do it, but it's you have been grasped. You can't fall off. You can't fall off the road. We will always think deep down in our psyche that we do this or we do that, or we say Namu Amida Butsu very intently, and therefore we deserve something. But actually, it's this letting go of all that. Letting go of all that. And when you let go of all that, you're truly grounded in what matters in the world. And then you can go out and do things in the world and not worry about whether you're going to succeed or not. And I'm talking about spiritual things. I'm talking about spiritual things. Wherever we find ourselves following this path, on this Nembutsu path, we are on the Bodhisattva path, that path of aspiration, and we are there without fail. I think Shinran talks about the stage of being truly settled. Truly settled. But it's a gift. It's a gift, being truly settled. But once you are, then you give back to others. Then doing all those practices and stuff like that, you put them back. But understanding now, it's not from my effort anymore or from your effort anymore. It's from the great effort directed by Amida Buddha, or light and light itself. There's an old saying, to destroy the lesser self and realize the greater self. The attainment of the greater self is none other than the way of the Bodhisattva. And so, to conclude today, I would like us to turn to page 18 of the service book. And now with confidence, even though we are ordinary people, let us recite the way of the Bodhisattva. May I be a medicine for the sick and weary, nursing them until their afflictions are gone forever. I would be a protector of the helpless, a guide for travelers, and their means for crossing a stream, a lamp for those who need a lamp, a bed for those who need a bed, a slave for those who need a slave. May all find happiness through my actions, and let no one suffer because of me. Whether they love or hate me, may those feelings be the source of their fulfillment. Those who mock, accuse, or wrong me, may they all attain enlightenment. Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu. So thank you very, very much. And now we'll just close together. In the words of Shinran, seeing the sentient beings of the Nembutsu throughout the worlds, countless as particles in the 10 quarters, the Buddha grasps and never abandons them, and is therefore named Amida, which is boundless light and life. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. So thank you for listening today, and go out and enjoy the beautiful weather, midsummer. It's really nice out today, and I hope everyone is okay at home too. And come and see us. Take care.
For your deep and insightful message regarding what we consider to be important as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists. Thank you. Will everyone please stand now if you're able? We will have the Gathas Namu Amida Butsu on page 169, followed by Nembutsu. 167? Please be seated. So this brings us to the close of our service. So here comes the part that we all like. Are there any announcements from the Sangha? Any announcements? Okay, next Sunday, July 17th. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Next Sunday will be our Obon service. Our guest speaker will be Reverend Chiemi Onikura Blai from Twin Cities Buddhist Sangha. She'll be speaking both in English and in Japanese, so I hope you will join us for that service. So that will be a very special one. And I hope you have all enjoyed being here today. We've really enjoyed having you, and we're really grateful that you join our service. We're really grateful to have the opportunity to join together as a Sangha and hear Dharma messages such as the one shared today by Reverend Gary Shobo Jaskula, which can be found also, if you'd like to rehear it again, on our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/c/New York Buddhist Church. And we do maintain a page there. If you'd like to become a member and further support this organization and be part of our Sangha, you can find a membership form on our website, newyorkbuddhistchurch.org. If you go to the right and scroll down, click on where it says membership. And we're very, very happy to welcome new members, as well as new attendees. So you had wanted...
Is there a dance in August?
Because of the COVID restrictions, we will not be having an Obon festival in Bryant Park as we have had in previous seasons. We hope to do so next year, but it is still quite difficult with all the restrictions given by COVID to have a in-person Obon dancing. But we will be in August broadcasting. We will have a hybrid Obon, and we'll be giving further details of that on our website. In the interim, if you would like to sponsor a candle for a loved one, in memory of a loved one, for our Obon service, you can find a link for that as well on our calendar page, which on our website. So you would go to newyorkbuddhistchurch.org, go to the calendar page, July 17th, and there is a link for a Google form, which we ask you to fill out so that we may have the name of your loved ones and receive your donation for this. So as always, we're very, very grateful for you, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Donna?
Our sister temple, the Seabrook, is having an outdoors Obon,
Yeah, I've posted on our Facebook page our sister temple Ekoku, which is in Fairfax, Virginia, and Seabrook's Buddhist temple, which is in Seabrook, New Jersey. Because they own a large plot of land, they are able to do a Oban outside. So if you go to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/NY Buddhist Church, you can find the details of their Oban services if you'd like to travel to get there. But, you know, again, we are not having anything this year due to all the restrictions that New York Park Service has. And we hope to next year. So again, I'd like to thank our greeter today, Hiroki Hasegawa. I'd like to thank our wonderful tech team of Dave Brady and Carl Palma for bringing the Dharma virtually to you. I'd like to thank Nobuko Kodama-san for playing the piano today, and I'd like to thank once again Reverend Gary Shobo Jaskula for an insightful and wonderful talk that gives us quite a bit to consider during the week ahead. So thank you, Reverend Gary, and thank all of you. This concludes our service. Hope to see you next week. Please join me in closing Gassho. In reverence and thankfulness for all the blessings which Amida Buddha brings us, forever grasped, never to be abandoned. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu.